In an era of unprecedented wealth inequality, a peculiar phenomenon has taken hold: the fervent defense of billionaires. These individuals, who control more wealth than entire nations, often find themselves shielded from criticism, their actions excused, their motives unquestioned. Why do we, the many, so often find ourselves defending the interests of the few, especially when those interests stand in direct opposition to our own? It's a tangled web of aspiration, manipulation, and deeply ingrained psychological biases. We are conditioned to admire wealth, to see it as a mark of success, a signifier of worth. This admiration often morphs into reverence, particularly when amplified by media narratives that portray billionaires as visionary entrepreneurs. Yet, this defense of the ultra-wealthy goes beyond mere admiration. It often manifests as a staunch refusal to acknowledge the systemic inequalities that allow such wealth to accumulate. Humans are by nature social creatures. We crave belonging, validation, and a sense of purpose within the larger social hierarchy. In our modern capitalist society, wealth has become the ultimate symbol of success, a potent signifier of status and achievement. This association is deeply ingrained, often subconscious, and it exerts a powerful influence on our perceptions and behaviors. From a young age, we are bombarded with narratives that equate wealth with happiness, fulfillment, and even moral virtue. Billionaires are often portrayed as self-made heroes, their stories framed as testaments to hard work and ingenuity. This narrative, however, often obscures the systemic advantages, inherited wealth, and sheer luck that play a significant role in their ascent. We admire their accomplishments, envy their lifestyles, and often aspire to emulate their paths. This aspiration, however, can blind us to the realities of wealth inequality, leading us to defend a system that perpetuates it. We yearn for a piece of that success, clinging to the belief that if we work hard enough, we too can achieve such dizzying heights. The media plays a pivotal role in shaping public perception, and this influence extends to how we view the ultra-wealthy. News outlets, entertainment platforms, and social media algorithms often present a carefully curated image of billionaires, one that emphasizes their philanthropy, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit. Many media outlets are owned by conglomerates controlled by billionaires, their financial interests intertwined with maintaining the status quo. This creates a clear conflict of interest, one that often manifests in biased reporting and a reluctance to critically examine the source of such immense wealth. Furthermore, the media often focuses on the charitable endeavors of the ultra-wealthy, highlighting their donations to worthy causes. While philanthropy can be a force for good, it's crucial to recognize that it often serves as a form of reputation management. This carefully crafted narrative shapes our understanding of wealth and power, normalizing vast inequalities. The notion of meritocracy is deeply ingrained in the American psyche. It's the belief that success is determined by hard work, talent, and determination, that anyone, regardless of their background, can achieve prosperity through sheer grit and gumption. This narrative, however, is largely a myth, a comforting fable that masks the systemic barriers and inherited advantages that perpetuate inequality. The reality is that billionaires are rarely self-made. They often come from positions of privilege, benefiting from generational wealth, access to elite education, and social networks. The myth of meritocracy serves as a powerful tool to justify wealth inequality. It allows us to believe that billionaires deserve their fortunes, that they have earned their place at the top through sheer merit. This narrative ignores the structural barriers that prevent upward mobility and the systemic racism and discrimination that limit opportunities. By clinging to the myth of meritocracy, we absolve ourselves of the responsibility to address the root causes of inequality. The human mind is a complex and often contradictory instrument. We strive for consistency in our beliefs and actions, yet we often hold conflicting views, particularly when it comes to complex social issues like wealth inequality. This psychological phenomenon, known as cognitive dissonance, plays a significant role in our willingness to defend the ultra-wealthy. On the one hand, we may recognize the inherent unfairness of vast wealth disparities. We may even resent the political influence wielded by billionaires. On the other hand, we are bombarded with messages that celebrate wealth, that equate it with success, innovation, and even moral virtue. This dissonance creates a psychological tension that we are naturally driven to resolve. One way to alleviate this tension is to rationalize our beliefs, to find justifications for the status quo. We may convince ourselves that billionaires deserve their wealth, that they are simply reaping the rewards of their hard work and ingenuity. This cognitive dissonance allows us to reconcile our discomfort with inequality with our desire for a better life. In a world rife with uncertainty, the human instinct to seek security and stability is deeply ingrained. This primal fear of the unknown, of economic hardship and social upheaval, can manifest in a staunch defense of the status quo. The ultra-wealthy, with their vast resources and influence, represent a source of stability in an otherwise unpredictable world. They are job creators, investors, and philanthropists, their actions having a tangible impact on the lives of millions. This dependence, however, can breed a sense of fear, a fear of biting the hand that feeds. This fear is often amplified by narratives that portray any attempt to redistribute wealth or challenge the power of the elite as dangerous and destabilizing. We are warned of economic collapse, social unrest, and the erosion of individual liberty. Furthermore, many people fear losing what little they have. Any attempt to disrupt this system, even if it promises greater equality in the long run, is met with resistance. This fear-driven defense of the status quo allows the ultra-wealthy to maintain their grip on power. Propaganda, the systematic dissemination of information, often biased or misleading, to influence public opinion, plays a crucial role in maintaining the billionaire bootlicking phenomenon. By controlling the narrative, by shaping how we perceive wealth, power, and social mobility, those in control can manufacture consent for a system that serves their interests. One of the most effective tactics employed is the sowing of division. By pitting the working class against each other, by fueling resentment towards marginalized groups, those in power divert attention from the true source of inequality. We are bombarded with messages that demonize the poor, portraying them as lazy and entitled. At the same time, immigrants are scapegoated for economic woes, minorities are stereotyped and discriminated against. This manufactured division prevents the formation of a cohesive movement for change. It fosters an environment of distrust and resentment, making it easier to maintain the status quo. By keeping the working class at each other's throats, those in power ensure that their own exploitative practices remain unchallenged. This manufactured consent, this acceptance of the current power structure, is essential to maintaining the vast and growing chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The billionaire bootlicking phenomenon, while deeply entrenched, is not insurmountable. By recognizing the psychological, social, and political forces that perpetuate it, we can begin to dismantle the structures that maintain this harmful dynamic. This requires a multi-pronged approach, one that emphasizes education, fosters empathy, and encourages collective action. Education is paramount. We must equip ourselves with the critical thinking skills necessary to deconstruct the myths that surround wealth inequality. This involves understanding the historical context of wealth accumulation and the systemic barriers that prevent upward mobility. Empathy is equally crucial. We must challenge the narratives that demonize the poor and justify the hoarding of wealth. This requires stepping outside of our own experiences and recognizing the shared humanity that binds us all. Finally, we must engage in collective action, demanding greater transparency from our elected officials and supporting policies that promote economic justice. The billionaire bootlicking phenomenon is a symptom of a deeper societal malaise, a reflection of a culture that has come to prioritize wealth accumulation over all else. We have internalized the myths of meritocracy and trickle-down economics, allowing ourselves to be manipulated by those who benefit from the status quo. The consequences of this inaction are dire. As wealth continues to concentrate in the hands of a select few, our democracy is eroded, our environment is plundered, and our social fabric is frayed. We face a stark choice: continue down this path of unchecked greed and inequality, or reclaim our values and redefine what it means to live in a just and equitable society. We must recognize that true success is not measured by the size of one's bank account, but by the well-being of our communities and the health of our planet. The future of our democracy, our planet, and our very humanity depends on our willingness to challenge the status quo and build a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.